Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions.
That cover's so awesome.
Absolute format is the best way to own this store. Time to empty those wallets and fill those shelves. Hey, all you Minties! Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And join me today for your advanced look at the Thor by Cates and Klein Omnibus from Marvel Comics. So let's go ahead and get started. Before going any further, a big thank you to David Gabriel and the fine folks at Marvel for sending us an advance copy of this omnibus. This omnibus is due out in the direct market and book market on October 29th or 30th, depending on where you get your books. What we're looking at here is the direct market cover. This is the one that's supplied by Nick Klein. On the left-hand side is your standard edition cover, also supplied by Nick Klein, but this time around just featuring the character of Thor on the front. And there are two different images for the spines of the direct market and the standard edition cover, but everything else underneath the dust jacket is the same. So while we have the dust jacket on, I'm sure I'm going to be asked, where does this fit into the reading order of Thor? It goes right after the Jason Aaron run. So right after Thor by Jason Aaron Volume 2, you could put it after War of the Realms in case you don't have the Jason Aaron's Volumes 1 and 2, but really it goes right afterward. It's crazy to think about, if you're a Thor fan, just how much Thor we've had in omnibus format without missing any stories, all collected in this oversized format. But let's bring the focus back to this book. So you have Thor, Cates and Klein right here, little bit of praise for the book, the Marvel logo, but down here it's also Grombeck and Kokolo, because they did help a ton, especially towards the end of the run. Marvel Omnibus there, Thor by Cates and Klein, and then the image that right there with his new outfit, heavy lies the hammer, and giving you a quick idea as to what's collected in here, a little bit about the book, some more praise, and then the ISBN rated Teen Plus. The book retails for $125. Underneath this dust jacket, actually, let's look at the flaps first. A new legend begins, and then a little bit about the creators, including friend of the channel, Torunn Grombeck, and then Martin Kokolo as well. So they are also taking the top billing. Now, this is the image by Nick Klein right underneath the dust jacket, and it is a badass image. If this run does not scream heavy metal rock and roll to you, I don't know. I guess it kind of reminds me a little bit of what Esad Ribic was doing at the beginning of the Thor by Jason Aaron run. All right, we're going to crack this book open. It has been collected previously before in a series of trade paperbacks. There's also another trade paperback with Hulk. It's the Banner crossover. But we're going to crack this book open. I'm going to talk a little bit about the stories found in here, show off this artwork, and then look at the extras together. Okay, let's go ahead and get this omnibus opened. We have your black end sheets here, the title right there with that image of Thor. And we'll look at all the credits here. So even though it says Thor by Cates and Klein, obviously there's a lot more people that worked on this particular omnibus. You're going to notice a lot of Torunn Grombeck towards the end of the run, and a lot of Torunn Grombeck with Donny Cates, because Donny Cates had laid out the plot, and Torunn Grombeck came in and finished out his run and his ideas the way that he thought the run should end. And then you're not just going to have Nick Klein, but you're also going to have people like Salvador La Roca and Martin Kokolo. Now, issue 24 is the big 750th issue. So that's the legacy number. So you're going to see some familiar names here that have worked on the character of Thor, like Tom DeFalco, Ron Frenz, Walter Simonson, Dan Jurgens, J. Michael Straczynski, Al Ewing, and Jason Aaron. That's one hell of a celebration. And each of the story arcs are broken down by who wrote them and who the colorists were, and of course the letterers. There is an introduction here from 2019 by Donny Cates talking about kind of the magic going away. And what he's talking about is the magic of writing comics, or writing comics takes away the magic of comic books, because you're now writing the stories. You're no longer concerned about the characters and what they're going to do. Like, you're following their adventures like they're real people. And I can kind of see that. Like, when I was a kid, he talks about how you didn't even know creators. You just followed the adventures of Peter Parker and what's going to happen to him or his supporting cast. I completely agree with that. Back when I was a kid, I didn't keep up with creators. I think it was like the first one I noticed whose art I really enjoyed was George Perez. It's probably because he had a Latino name. I was like, oh, he's Latino. Cool. There's an artist like that. So, yeah, I can see where he's going with that introduction. So, this does collect Thor issues 1 through 35 is the series that kicked off in 2020, immediately after Jason Aaron's run. Hulk vs. Thor Banner of War, Alpha, Hulk 7 through 8, the 2021 edition. Thanos, Death Notes, and the material from Thor Annual Number 1 and Thor Annual Number 1 from, okay, so it's 2021 and then 2023. The book has 1,048 pages. All right, so what is happening here? I have to talk a little bit about the ending of Thor by Jason Aaron. So if you haven't read that, by all means, go and read it or put me on mute so you can see some of this artwork. Because something happens. There's a change in issue number 1. So I actually have to talk about issue number 1 in this omnibus. All right. So spoilers, I guess, for that the finale. Thor is now King of Asgard. In Jason Aaron's run, I'm not going to go into details, but he becomes King of Asgard. And one of the things that at the very beginning, he's kind of a little bit bored. Like, he's not really, like, enjoying being the King of Asgard because, you know, it's something that both him and Loki wanted, but it's just not all it's cracked up to be. There's no adventures, so he even helps out, like, the Avengers right here at the very beginning by taking down this creature. And, you know, just sitting on his throne, going through some, like, political stuff. He's now King of Asgard. And it's something that happened towards the end of Jason Aaron's run. Now, you're starting to see some other things, too, like having a hard time picking up Mjolnir. Loki notices that. And he's like, what's going on with that there, Thor? So there's a lot of changes that are going on. A lot of bit. It's like a little bit and a lot. Big changes, but little bit escalation there. A lot of bit. Is that a Kentucky thing? I think that's an Uncanny Omar thing. So what ends up happening here? Well, before he's about to deliver a speech to Asgard after months of being king, Galactus, Devourer of Worlds, comes crashing down on the party, asking not for a fight, but for help. He tells Thor that the Black Winter is coming. Very reminiscent of that crash of Silver Surfer right at the beginning of the Infinity Gauntlet, where he's like, Thanos is coming. The Black Winter is coming. So Thor gathers a bunch of the heralds of Galactus here, including the Cosmic Ghost Rider right there, and they're trying to figure out exactly what the Black Winter is. In comes Silver Surfer after the events of Silver Surfer Black. That's why he's looking a little bit different. And he tells them of what the Black Winter is. Black Winter is this particular force is so powerful, it wiped out everything. And it wiped out all of Galactus' world. So Galactus is trying to stop it from destroying the Marvel Universe in a weird way, because he's trying to stop it by devouring worlds so he can become stronger and stronger. But he needs a herald at his side because he's seen a vision. The Black Winter has shown him a vision of what's to come. And what's to come is Thor. So what he does at the beginning of issue number 1, or at the very beginning of this omnibus, he makes Thor his herald. That's why Thor looks like that, and he no longer looks like King Thor, right? With the beard looking a lot like Odin. He looks like this, remade in the image of Galactus. So that's what the first storyline is about. It's about this oncoming force, Galactus and Thor teaming up together to take it down. Thor actually trying to take down Galactus. So it's kind of like a back and forth. And just Thor trying to stop him from devouring planets because, like I said, Galactus needs to devour planets to get stronger. And he has his allies that turn on him, or not really turn on him because they feel like he's turned on them by becoming a herald of Galactus. There are variant covers sometimes in thumbnail size on the opposite side of standard edition covers. So there's fights in here with Beta Ray Bill and Sif, you know, people that he considers friends. And that's just the beginning of this particular story. That's the first part, the Black Winter. Now, Thor eventually does see a vision of what's to come. And this is the vision. And this kind of sets up the events of the book right here. What is this? Or what are these Marvel zombies and Thanos? What is going to happen? There's a couple of issues here. Aaron Cooter. I love these because this is a return back. This is so awesome. I did try to call it, but it didn't go anywhere. But at one time, when I had the trade paperback, I called it, and it did go to like a Tony Stark voicemail. But he is back in that little town of Broxton, and yeah, right here, Oklahoma, because he's trying to test exactly what is going on with the hammer. Remember when I said he has a hard time lifting it? Well, he's testing the waters to see why people are now being worthy of lifting the hammer. Then we get the return of an unexpected character, and this is the character of Donald Blake, and I don't want to go into details as to how he comes back or why, but he comes back in a different light, so much so that he kind of becomes the opposing side of Thor, because he thinks, okay, if people are worthy, if anybody's worthy of picking up Mjolnir, then the solution is I'm going to readopt the identity of Donald Blake, and maybe Blake will then have like some insight to solve the problem. It's a weird way to try to fix this problem, but it causes more issues than anything, especially with this character of Donald Blake. There's a wonderful reunion here between him and Jane Foster. Of course, Jane has gone through her own changes with like Valkyrie and all that. I think this line is so awesome when he's talking about you don't belong in a morgue. It's got a lot of meanings behind that. There's a couple of appearances by some of the pet Avengers, including Throg. And yeah, it goes in ways that I didn't expect it to go. But then again, when you're looking at Thor, when you're looking at these particular stories and the whole confusion as to Donald Blake, it kind of makes sense. Now, do you need to know anything about the character of Donald Blake to enjoy that particular story? No, absolutely not. I think Donny Cates does a hell of a job explaining what the character's relation is to Thor. So Mjolnir becomes this problem. You saw the image of Thanos, which will come back to play. But Mjolnir becomes this problem that Thor is having a hard time lifting the hammer. So much so that he leaves Mjolnir with the Avengers. So now he has to fight the Wrecking Crew with Valkyrie by himself without the help of Mjolnir. And something is going on. Something is going on inside of Mjolnir. Angela makes a return, but she's not the only one. There's another sibling that makes a return. There's a Freya and a couple of other characters that make a return through here. This is an awesome scene right here between Throg and Thor. And Nick Klein returns for the God of Hammer storyline, which introduces us to a new character, a god of hammers that is just destroying worlds and just smashing everything in its path. And now it's up to Thor to confront this god of hammer. And again, you have variant covers on the opposite side of the standard edition cover. And this leads into a huge fight between Thor and this new character. And I do want to talk about issue 24, which is the main storyline. The title actually spoils what happens in here. But this is the return of all these creators like Walter Simonson. You have Tom DeFalco and Ron Frenz coming back. Dan Jurgens. You've got Al Ewing and Lee Garbett actually setting up the Defender storyline, the new Defender storyline. And J. Michael Straczynski and a couple of other artists and writers that come back that have worked on the character in the past. Now, there's the huge crossover. Let me tell you, if you like fighting games, if you like anime, this crossover is for you. Because the next event, or I guess the next storyline, is the Banner of War storyline. And what happens here is that Thor has found out, and Hulk have found out, what happened in El Paso. And something bad happened in El Paso, so much so that Thor is going up against his, they've been bitter rivals for a long time, but also friends. But it's not just Thor, it's like the Avengers are going after Hulk. Now, this does spoil some of the things that are going on in the Hulk book, and there is going to be some double dipping with that Hulk by Donny Cates and Ryan Ottley omnibus. So that is something to keep in mind. If you're at all curious about the storyline, definitely pick up that omnibus or the trade paperbacks to read the stories. Because yes, Hulk, spaceship, it's ridiculous. And that's what you get out of this. So that goes on for like 5 different, it's like 5 issues, I think. It's like a 5-issue storyline. All right. Now we get this story right here by Al Ewing. This is another one that I love about Marvel and DC, it's such a big interconnected universe that if you're at all curious what's going on with Venom exactly, and why does the character of Darkoth have the symbiote, you have to go and check out Al Ewing's run on Venom, which has been stellar. Like, it started off slow for me, and I know this is not a review of the book, but the Ron V and Al Ewing Venom started off as like, what is this? Like, none of this is making any sense. Oh man, and then it went into like a god tier level of just badassness. But this is the team up between Thor and Venom to stop Darkoth and this Carnage symbiote. There's a couple of other special appearances that happen through there that I don't want to spoil for anybody. And then finally we get some of the clarity as to the whole Thanos storyline that's going on with this flashback storyline that's happening with just different stories of Thanos and his relationship with the character of Death. We do get the return of Corvus Glaive as he ends up kidnapping Lauza. Lauza is a character that has appeared in the pages of Angela, and she also has relations to Thor. And then the last storyline, well, all I will say is Doctor Doom, time travel, maybe a little bit of Thanos, and that wraps up the omnibus. And that's all I will say about it because I don't want to spoil what happens next. Now, at the very back is where they're putting the annuals. You have the 2021 annual here. This is the Infinite Destiny storyline where the Infinity Gems are taking over people, like they're hiding in people. So there's a new bad guy, like a shadow of Thor. But we already kind of had that with like like Donald Blake being the shadow of Thor. And then the annual 2023 in here. And this is the fight against that shadow character I was talking about. There's the Black Panther and Thor team up storyline as well, and then the Loki story. So all the backups stuff, like the annuals, are in all the way towards the end. And then the back matter, so you get covers here, design variants, and some of them are in thumbnail size, some of them are in splash pages. Holy crap, that Jeff Shaw connecting covers, that is awesome. Jeffrey Scott Campbell. There's a lot of Banner of War covers. Whoa, Russell Dauterman. I thought that was Jen Bartel at first. Olivia Coipel, Russell Dauterman. Man, this run of Thor had a lot of variants. A lot of variants. And then you get the art process and sketches and layouts. Oh, I love when they do this stuff right here. You get the pencils, the layout, the pencils, and the inks. Whoa, that looks awesome. Yeah, so you get layout, pencils, inks. And then your end sheets. So let's look at the binding. 1,048 pages printed at the Donny printer. So the way the book lays over is just really nice. Lots of splash pages and spread pages through here. So, looking at this iconic image right here of Galactus literally crashing a party. Getting beat down by the Black Winter. So you can see the minimal gutter loss. I mean, there's very little gutter loss when it comes to these books. And as far as the paper stock they're using the same paper stock, the glossy paper stock they've been using for the last few years at the Donny printer. So there's very minimal bleed through happening, especially when there's whites or light colors happening from the other side. You can still tell if you're looking for it, but not a lot. And again, a book like this really benefits from the fact that it's really dark. There's a lot of blacks in here and just those kind of tones, and not really a bright book as far as the colors. All right, that's it. That, as they say, is that. If you're interested in purchasing this omnibus, don't forget to check out our sponsors. BD Cosmos, the Canadian leader in graphic novels. They have a physical storefront in Montreal, Quebec, and their website, bdcosmos.com, offers 25% off your order of over $99 or more, and free shipping everywhere in Canada for every order of $200 or more.
Their shipping care is exceptional. Your books will stay cozy through the rough Canadian weather and arrive to you in near mint condition.
After checkout, let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way, and you'll be added to the monthly $25 gift card raffle. Entries are valid for new and returning customers.
Don't be afraid to call or email them. Ask them questions. Their staff is always happy to help guide you towards the right purchase. Visit their website, bdcosmos.com, for more. BD Cosmos, with rewards and raffles taking care of customers in Canada. Eh?
CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content, the page count, and build of this omnibus. Let me know in the comments down below if you plan on picking this up, if you have it in trade paperback, what you thought of the stories in case you read them already, and what other Thor era you would love to see in omnibus format. Looking at you, Tom DeFalco. Anyway, if you have any questions, leave them down below. Don't forget to smash that like button. Check us out on Patreon and Spreadshop. Amazing ways to support the channel. Everyone stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.